also have potato starch and like rice vermicelli.
No, I love pasta.
You want la pasta? Okay. Ahoy. Hello. We're gonna feed Fred first. Poor boy's been waiting. Can you give me his food?
Yes.
Why does it smell like gas?
Do we have the medium IKEA pot?
The medium IKEA pot is holding my peanut butter
Okay.
jar, but you're welcome to transfer it if you
No,
want.
it's fine.
Yes, Freddie. Yeah. Potent, right?
Yeah.
The thing about the alphabet pasta is like it cooks for 1 minute.
Right.
So just make sure you're happy with the broth before you go in with it.
Why wouldn't I be happy with this broth?
It's
the best
very
broth ever.
salty, so just make sure you have it watered down right.
Good
Yeah.
point. Maybe I'll make sauce from it instead of cooking the pasta in it.
Okay, you can have there's just leave me 1 onion. You can have onions over there.
Yeah, we can make something happen.
Yeah, I believe in you. Oh, you also have your broccoli, Aaron. Do you want it still?
Yes.
If you don't want it, I'll eat it.
Sounds like you want the broccoli.
I don't need it, but I do want it. But I don't deserve it. So, and I also have a lot of cabbage to eat this
Thank you
week.
for reminding me about
Oh, and can you use up these chives?
that. Yeah.
The fried chives.
Fried chips. Yes, Fred. You wouldn't be hungry, would you? Where do you keep the steamer basket these days? Everything's
It's behind the big bowl. You can't just keep piling bowls on top of bowls
Okay.
diagonally. So it's behind the big bowl, Aaron. And please put it back there when you're done with it.
I'm saving you the rest of the broccoli and carrots. Cool.
Look at how cute he is. Let's not feed him so he'll perpetually look so cute.
These are for you, okay?
Thank you. You're so cute, Freddie. We're never gonna feed you so you can look cute forever. Begging for nourishment. I shall torture you this way. I shall work you for the camera. We shall have to see those big eyes. Big eyes. Where's the food, Fred? Where's the food? Okay.
Al dente, 9 minutes boiling.
Lies.
That's a lie. These bags always say way too much time for pasta.
Why don't you cook it directly in the broth?
We literally talked about that.
Okay. We're gonna sharpen some knives today. Aaron, do you need your knife sharpened?
I don't know.
You don't use it, do you?
I use it slicing everything I cook. I just don't know if it's sharpened.
Well, did you struggle with it last time?
I never struggle with it because I don't really know what's sharpened or not. And I can't really tell other than poking it and I'm like, that feels sharp, but it also...
Well, it's
might
your
not.
knife, so you tell me. I'm not gonna...
Give it a quick one.
No, I don't want to.
Alright, thanks for offering.
I don't... You can't just give the knife a quick one. That's not how it works.
Okay, don't worry about it then.
If you desire sharpening, you have to put in some effort to determine whether or not you need it. Otherwise...
I guess I don't need it.
Okay, great.
It's cutting things, and that's really all I need to do.
Okay. Because I'm putting in the effort, I would like to ensure that it is necessary labor I am giving you.
Bro, you offered.
I asked you if your knife needs sharpening. You didn't really give me an answer. This is something that it's a dynamic that I picked up from my parents' relationship. My dad has always insisted that my mom was willing to do things for him, so he just used her, and he got used to using her, and I guess he convinced himself that she enjoyed being used, but it's gotta be more equal than that. Do you want sauce? More?
I might need more.
Wow, Aaron, look at this.
What? What last? Oh, our best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's gotta have better things to do in her life.
No, I don't think so. Unfortunately. Wow, Freddie, look at that clean plate. Good boy. Good boy. Did you like dinner? Are you done? There's some bits left, but are you done? It's very clean. I don't want to take it too soon away from you, though. If you want to be dishwasher, I won't stop you. Wow, you're very cute today. You always are cute, but today you're very cute. Yay! Thanks for eating and leaving me scrappies. I love them. Do you need a strainer for that noodle?
Not yet.
Okay. I don't have any more food for you, bud. That's it. That's all of dinner. So I don't have much to do tonight, except maybe I'm gonna sharpen my knives for sure, and then I might prep some pork shoulder for tomorrow's shoot that I have to do from home. Because for the foreseeable future, I'm going to refuse going into the Hearst Tower because it seems like quite a mess. We had a all hands meeting with Debbie, the president of Hearst Magazines right now, and we all thought when she announced the all hands meeting for today last week in an email that she was going to address the COVID situation in the tower. Not a word about the confirmed cases in the tower, not a word about the floors that were affected. Instead, the entire meeting was spent talking about profit, revenue, YouTube views, all the accomplishments that we've had this year as a company. And can I turn this off?
Yeah.
And it was just like extremely disappointing. For some reason, I guess that she thought it would be really magnanimous to allow us, for once, to show our faces on camera. So she let the participants turn on their cameras. And we could actually unmute ourselves, but I didn't want to go that far. But I did just situate my computer the whole time right next to this union sign that says all I want for the holidays is a flexible workplace. And unfortunately, because there were like over 900 of us in that Zoom room, I realized more than halfway through that nobody was ever gonna see my screen. So I noticed that one person had their hand function raised, which then pinned their screen to the top of the Zoom profiles. So I raised my hand. And that, in effect, basically pinned my screen image to the top row of all the Zoom windows. And then other people from the union started doing the same. So we all had our hand raised, but Debbie did not pick on any of us to let us ask any questions. They disabled the chat function, so we couldn't really give any feedback unless we unmuted ourselves and interrupted the meeting.
And nobody was brave enough to do that?
I was brave enough to do it, but I really didn't want to ruffle that many feathers. But towards the end of it, where she was starting to wrap up and it became apparent that she was going to make no time for questions, I wrote on a yellow notepad, "Let us ask questions," and then I held it up to my screen. And obviously, if she were staring at her laptop at all during that meeting, she would have seen my sign. She just did not choose to acknowledge it and then ended the meeting. So that was that. I was shaking with anger. Somebody did accidentally unmute, and we heard them say, like, "I'll call you back later, I'm in a Zoom meeting right now." And it was very awkward because Debbie was like, "Can everybody make sure they're on mute?" You know, stereotypical Zoom interaction. But I don't really know what the point of letting us show our faces, but not really giving us the space or chance to talk and interact and actually ask questions about the status of the company in terms of what workers actually care about, which is not metrics and not really money, because we don't really see a single cent of the money that the company makes. Let's be honest. The last bonus that we got, I think, was $500 as a holiday bonus. I actually caught up with a couple of middle school friends yesterday. We had like a 3-hour chat. We haven't seen each other since 2017. And one works in a medical field and one works in the financial field. And I told them, yeah, the last bonus we had as a company was $500 per head, and they were like, what? um, so that's Hearst. What is the point of an all hands meeting if you can only be seen and not heard? But every single all hands meeting is captive audience meeting. Every single all hands meeting includes nobody
Fred's going insane.
who is not planned to be a speaker. It's all scripted for the most part. When we do have all hands meetings that incorporate more speakers than just one person, they're all slated to talk. So yeah, no hands. We raised our hands in the all hands meeting, but no hands were called on. Really fun working for corporate daddies. Yes, definitely. Absolutely put your health first. In fact, let me pull up our union Slack channel. Somebody's mom was messaging them about this meeting today, and their mom said, so disappointing that Hearst doesn't seem to give a shit. And then mom said, you have to protect yourselves and fuck them. So moms always know. So we gotta listen to mom. So protect yourselves and fuck them, I guess, is the motto. Why continue working at a place you seem miserable at? Who's not miserable at their jobs? Do you know many people? I think the question that we should be asking is, why do so many of us continue to work at places that seem to think it's okay to continue making their workers miserable? Like, why is this accepted as a normal standard? Why aren't we making workplaces better? Why don't unions have more of a voice? Or rather, why aren't there more unions to begin with? Also, just to correct the misconception that I am miserable working as a food media person, yes and no. Like, in a lot of ways, this is a great job. In a lot of ways, I am doing what I love to do. But in a lot of ways, the company that I work for sucks. And I'm not the only one who seemed to think so. A lot of people seem to think so. And a lot of people have already left this company because they have chosen options that hopefully wouldn't make them so miserable. But that's not to say that just because we are all so miserable right now that we shouldn't be working together to change it. That's what a union is supposed to do. It's supposed to make a workplace better, more bearable, safer, and more fair for the workers, because there is a egregious imbalance of both power, resources, money between those at the top and everyone else.
Every workplace is a mini dictatorship. The union is the only thing that prevents it from being a complete tyranny.
Well, I'm very happy to know that some people have had jobs that they find thoroughly enjoyable and compelling and joyful. I'm glad that those instances do exist for some folks, but I would wage Fred on the fact that most of us work jobs that probably make us miserable on a daily basis. So I don't hate my job, and I fucking love all of my coworkers. I have fantastic coworkers. They are all so amazing and talented, and they're such good people and kind people, and they're all in the union, and unfortunately I've had to see like 5 of them go this year. And it's already a small team. There's only like 14 or 15 of us from Delish who are on the union, and I've lost like so many people on the team. Like, we hire new people, sure.
This is tofu, right?
That's dumpling skin, and then
Okay.
there's tofu. Yes. I'm not going to bet anything else on Fred. I'm keeping Fred. Fred is my soulmate. I love Fred so very much, and he's the only cat that I haven't had an allergy to. Isn't that amazing? Sometimes I just bury my head in his belly, and he lets me do it, and then I breathe deep.
I've never seen him.
And he smells like a baby, and I don't die. Usually if I rub a cat and I rub my eyes, like my eyeballs will close. I'll start tearing up, it'll turn red, and then it'll start getting swollen like 1,000 bees just attack me in the middle of summer seasonal allergies. But not for Freddy, so. Maybe it is the cat's teeth that I'm allergic to, and Fred only has 3. And yes, Laura, exactly. Even dream jobs are awful sometimes because we have to do our jobs too much. Like, I love my job. There is a reason why I even managed to spend 70 plus, almost 80 hours on my job last week, because I cared very deeply about the project and I don't want to put out shitty content. So I did what I needed to do to make sure that I was proud of what I made as much as I could. But like, that in itself is a curse. If you care too much about your job and you attach yourself and your identity and your existence to your job, then you become a slave to it. Basically, I was a slave to my job for a very, very long time. And then I discovered that my slave masters are not very kind people. And it has been more apparent. So I've become more measured, especially since Mom died from, I'm assuming, just all sorts of stresses and all sorts of overwork and all sorts of burning out. And I, you know, like my colleague's mom said, protect yourselves, fuck them. Like, you gotta do it. And what looks like protecting yourself will always be different from day to day, from person to person. So like, you unfortunately have to be the judger of what's good and what's bad. But you gotta do what works for you.
Also, June has hated every job she's had.
That's not true.
From Yongfeng to Court Street
not
to restaurants.
Okay, Yongfeng was a little bit rough, but however,
Social work.
no, I've hated a lot of my work. There are some jobs that I definitely hated. Like, I hated working pastry at Northern Spy, not because I hated their food, but because I felt like the person I was working under didn't really enjoy crafting her stuff, and I didn't feel very inspired. So I had to wake up at the ass crack of dawn to ride from Queens to the East Village on the subway in the middle of winter before the sun came up to open the gates at 7 a.m. And it was just miserable being so alone in such a cold morning as a routine. I hated that job. I really didn't enjoy social work, working as a part of Project Hope after Hurricane Sandy hit New York. I was stationed on Coney Island. That was when I learned just how much fucking bureaucracy and red tape existed in social work, and how sometimes you really don't have the resources that people need, and then you just end up getting people shitty junk help and resources that they don't need. And I felt like I was a human spam bot at one point, so I left that fellowship early. That was supposed to be a 1-year grant program, and I left after 8 or 10 months. I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So, anyway, Aaron cooks. Aaron's cooking right now. Look what Aaron just cooked.
It's very experimental. It's a bit of a budget eats meal. It's just sort of whatever we have.
Yeah, we're
on
just
hand,
cooking trash right now.
throwing it together.
Trash meals for life.
This was just pasta and steamed broccoli and a sauce made from some of the pork stock that you had left over. That's all.
Smells good. Smells healthy. Smells balanced. And look, it's alphabet pasta.
Yeah, I wanted to use June's nice little ring ding Zanellini, but she was like, "No, I want it," and I was like, "Fine."
Thanks. Okay, now we sharpen knives. Oh, Freddie, hi. Hi, Freddie. Hi. I am somehow especially high on my toxoplasmosis tonight. I've just been talking to Fred like he's a baby for like the past 4 hours. I did want to show you guys something though. I already peeled it because I couldn't wait for you guys to do it, but this bottle used to hold Mom's avocado oil that she kept in her fridge. The stickers peeled beautifully. However, here we have a Le Creuset pot. I did not buy. I was gifted this by a PR group. First thing that I noticed, there is a chip. I don't think you can see it, but there is a chip right here underneath the screw where the enamel is naked. There is no enameling. It feels like a part of the enamel kind of got like smashed a little bit by the pressure of the screw being tightened too harsh, like a little very shallow chip. So very disappointed about that. And then it looks okay on the inside. There is a little naked pinpoint prick here. Just looking at all the imperfections, you can see it barely. It looks like a black prick, like the cast iron, the black cast iron showing underneath. But here's the thing that really got to me. This sticker does not peel cleanly. You're gonna really sell a $400 pot and give me a sticker that leaves residue? Come on, bro. This is why I don't spend money on expensive things. I would never buy Le Creuset. This would piss me off so much. Can you imagine if I spent $400 on a Le Creuset pot and I find a chip, a pinprick, naked spot, and sticker residue? But yes, perks to working in food media. You get to see through all the bullshit of marketing. I mean, not for nothing though. Le Creusets are really nice to cook in. They have even heating. They last for a long time. Yes, they don't stay clean and pretty like this forever, but they are a solid piece of cookware. However, I'm just gonna say that at this price point, it's gonna hurt me if I ever had to spend my own money. Is this only $200? This is only $200? Wow, okay. Oh, and there's another one here. It says it's made in France. Okay, here's everything that I can see. Le Creuset, SAS, 902 Rue Olivier de Guise. Oh, that's an address. Oh, they left an address on there. Okay, cool. Costco price? Okay, noted. Go to Costco for your Le Creuset, folks. Might be cheaper than Amazon. So Le Creusets apparently do come with a lifetime repair guarantee. Not if you like abuse it and, you know, smash it and stuff like that, but apparently they do have a lifetime repair or replacement guarantee. You do have to pay for the postage yourself though. So like, you know, Le Creusets, really heavy. So it's not going to be a free repair. You're still going to have to pay for it. I like Staubs too. Staubs are nice, for sure. Staub is also a French brand, I think. So I guess the French really like their pots. Listen, I didn't pay anything for this, so I'm not going to spend postage mailing in a brand new pot with a few imperfections. I just like bitching about things, okay? So if you don't see me flaunt any new items on live streams later, it's probably because people have decided that I like to bitch too much. But this is not that many quarts, unfortunately. I was hoping they would send me a bigger pot, but as you can see, it's not that much bigger than my IKEA pot. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not that much bigger. 3.5 sounds right, yeah. Susan, I wanted a discontinued color. When the PR company rep asked me what color I wanted, I was like, can you give me a color that's no longer on the market or like a mistake color? But they just ended up sending me their new color. Apparently this is like azure. It's like blue, another shade of blue. Le Creuset is like almost like a luxury brand, but a very common luxury brand of cookware. It's enameled cast iron. Azure. Ram, you want this? Listen, if you really want it, you can have it. You did save my life once, so the least I can do is give you a chipped Le Creuset. But as soon as I finish ripping this residue off, I will get to sharpening my knives because my Santoku knife is dull, 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 dull. Does everyone have off Christmas? Is anyone working Christmas? Christmas Eve? What are your plans? Oh, so for peeps who are working the holidays, just let us know what your job is so that we can be nicer to the people who work those jobs. Because I've worked service in restaurants before, and it is always so much more fucking miserable when you have to work holidays. There's just something about the fact that, like, you have to work on a day that other people take for granted as vacation. Ugh, yeah, bartending. Well, this is a clean peel. That's good. Yay. Oh, this is 4.5 quarts. So this is a 4.5 quart. How's your food, Aaron?
Great.
What if you just don't buy the gift cards and just give them straight cash? Save some plastic, and then they can use it anywhere. Even if it's just $5. Whoa, office closed with no pay? Is that even legal? Jesus Christ. Aaron, are companies allowed to close for the holidays and not pay their workers?
I don't know.
Wow. That sounds fucked. I'm gonna sharpen this knife. It doesn't feel dull, but it is dull. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and sharpen this knife, which is Mom's. I'm thinking about buying some knife guards for Mom's knives because, I mean, obviously they're cheap knives and I might end up spending more money on the knife guards, but I just don't feel good about putting them into drawers without anything guarding them. And,
Especially if you sharpen them.
yeah, so. What is this Frosty's gift tag? I've never heard of this thing. I would like a Wendy's tag. That gets me free Frosties. That sounds amazing. No, I think knife magnet bar might be a little too dangerous for me. I'm very klutzy. I really don't want to deal with naked blades on vertical surfaces or any surfaces. I can already feel the blood spurting from my arteries if I did that. Boop, boop, boop. Do you think it's possible for me to sharpen this knife to change the angle of the blade? Right now it's a fairly flat blade. I almost want to make it more of a rocking blade. Potentially sharpening the tip off more. And also, I didn't even notice this, but it looks like at one point I chipped the tip, so it's not even sharp anymore. I remember when I got this knife, I was cleaning it once, and part of my hand like hit the heel of the knife, and it just like cut me like a needle, and I freaked out. I could not stop hyperventilating. It was so sharp. Just dropped water on my computer, no big deal. I think we might have to be here for like 4 hours for me to change it even a millimeter. Hello, Canada. If I were to get a new knife, does anybody have a knife shape or a knife type that they really recommend? Because there was a like Japanese knife type called nakiri. It's basically this, but like slightly not as wide, a little bit shallower. It's a vegetable knife. It's blocky. But now that I have Mom's, even though this is like a fairly cheap knife, I feel like it has the same function, and I kind of don't want to buy a nakiri anymore. But if you have a knife shape that you think would be good to have in my arsenal, let me know. I believe this is a 6-ish inch knife that I'm holding right here. It is 6.5. My blade is 6.5. This is a 6.5. So I could go for a 6, I guess, but I don't want the same shape. I feel like it's not going to be drastically different. definitely not ceramic. I drop things way too many times. That shit is way too fragile.
You ever owned a ceramic knife?
No, and I don't even know how to sharpen ceramic knives. I don't want to take it to a professional, guys. First of all, I enjoy fucking things up on my own very much.
And she's learning.
This is a very enjoyable process. Even if I fuck up the blade, I'm going to enjoy the process. And if I take it to a professional, one, I have to pay for it. Two...
Don't some places offer free sharpening?
Yeah, but like two, I won't get to partake in the fun of changing something. Like transformation. Isn't that the meat of life? Transformation. People love... Take ownership. Take ownership of fucking up your own life. Oh yeah, how is your pupper now, Co? I would not recommend paying for sharpening on paring knives. They're just not worth it. Even like, unless you go for the really expensive stuff, the mid-range paring knives only go for about $30, and I feel like sharpening can vary from $5 to $50 depending on the knife sometimes. Usually you can get by with $5 on special deals from like places like Sur La Table, or I don't know how much corn charges to sharpen, but paring knives, you can just literally buy a cheap paring knife for like $4 from a restaurant supply store, so it's not really worth it. I was thinking about getting a giant Chinese cleaver. I want something that I can thwack bones with. Right now, I don't have a single knife that can thwack through bones. So if you have recommendations for bone thwacking knives, send in my way. I would like to thwack bones. Also, I just want to appreciate how satisfying the word thwack is. Do you really think I need a Naki knife if I have Mom's little rectangle? I don't even, is this, I guess this is like a cheap cleaver. So apparently Chinese butcher knives, there are many different types. A lot of the Chinese cleavers are actually just vegetable knives, and they are not strong enough to withstand thwacking through bones. You have to look for the meat cleaver to thwack through bones. I'm soaking a peanut butter jar. I finished a jar of peanut butter this week. Yes, winter depression is setting in. I will be putting on my peanut butter weight starting now, running through April probably. This is my peanut butter season. I am doing both. Some people do sharpen knives just by pushing and pulling like this. You can do that, but I'm lazy and I just do both. I don't use as much force. Most of the force is pushing in this direction, and then when I pull, it's lighter. And then same here, more force pulling, and then I kind of lift it off a little bit. Proper technique, I think, is to only go in one direction, because then you wear down less of the blade and the stone, and you have more precise sharpening. But like, y'all, I'm not a professional here, okay? I'm just trying to make this not dull, that's all. I think instead of trying to cure holiday and seasonal depression, we should just all be like, you know what? This is the 5th season of our year. We're going to embrace it. Animals have hibernation. We have eat holiday cookies, cry, and feel like shit. Asian. That sounds less cool than hibernation, but humans are just less cool than animals in general. No, I gave Mom's water kettle away. I didn't bring it back. There's no room for a water kettle. I don't need an electric water kettle. I couldn't keep everything. I'm glad that I kept the rice cooker. I'm glad that I kept the Instant Pot. Those will be things that I continue to treasure. I kept some of her stainless steel bowls. I will definitely use those. I'm very glad that I kept her shitty knives. I'm very glad that I kept her shitty wooden board that is falling apart. And I'm glad that I kept some of her bowls. And the plate that Fred is eating out of is also from Mom's house. I kept quite a few things, but I could not keep them all. And I think what I did keep is enough to last me through the rest of my grief, which is probably going to be the rest of my life, but this is 4,000, and no, sorry, this is 1,000, the green, and then the finer grit is 4,000. I don't recommend manual knife sharpeners. I don't even know how they work. They always look cheap and like toys. Don't you feel like you can be way more of a badass with a whetstone? Look at me being a badass with a whetstone. You wanna be a badass with a whetstone. Go for the whetstone. Just buy a cheap whetstone or buy a double-sided one and treat yourself. It'll last you several years. I've had this one 7 years.
Like 13 years.
Yeah, Aaron had this in college, and then he really didn't use it. So when I went into restaurant work, he gave it to me to use. And you're supposed to buy like a sanding block to kind of sand down the whetstone, because what happens over time is because you keep sharpening in the same patterns, you create a groove in the stone and it becomes uneven. But I haven't even gotten that professional yet, so when the stone gets bad enough, I'll probably need to sand it down. Williams-Sonoma is just like really rich white people's store. I don't even know why. I feel like Sur La Table actually has some cool stuff, but Williams-Sonoma never felt like much of a actual kitchen store. It's more of like a, here you go if you want to feel like you want to make an impression on your guests. I really don't recommend the sandpaper. I don't think that would work, Jason. Are you trolling? You're probably trolling. You have a Schwinn and you don't want to sand down the design. How powerful do you think you are that you're going to sand down the design? Do you mean you have a Schwinn that has like Damascus steel and it looks like waves here? You're only sharpening the blade. You're only sharpening this, what do you even call this? This is how much of a unprofessional person I am. You're only sharpening this very edge. You're not touching the rest of this blade. You are only making contact with like 2 millimeters here. That's it. The rest of the blade is not getting touched unless you want to touch it. And also, if it's true Damascus steel, that design is through the entire steel and not just on the superficial level. There are knives, such as mine, where the harder core steel is surrounded by softer steel that makes it easier to sharpen. So the Damascus might not run through it all, but usually Damascus knives are just, they're like two steels bound together, and that's the waves that you see. So they're kind of just like intertwined together as the whole piece of blade. Some knives like mine have a sharper core steel, which is the darker line that you see here, surrounded by softer ores. You won't trust yourself to do it at first, which is why you should buy a $10 knife and practice on that knife first. Once you get the feel for it, and once you see how ineffective sharpening for 40 minutes as a noob is, you will gain confidence to slowly fuck up your Schwinn. I don't even have a bread lom. I just use straight razor blades. I feel like I have more control by just holding the razor blade in my hand. You don't really need a basket for proofing bread, but it does help if you want to look like an artisanal baker with those flour lines in your boule. It's just all dependent on how showy and professional looking you want to present yourself. If you don't care and you just want to eat bread, you can bake bread in whatever the fuck you want, man. Yeah, this blade feels better. Now we're gonna go in on the tip. We're gonna try to get more of an angle tip because it looks like I damaged this one. Maybe a long time ago. I don't even know when. I don't like Zwilling. I don't like German knives. They're really heavy. They hurt my hand. They don't fit my little Asian hands. I have trouble controlling the blade because they are so heavy, and it just feels more like a hand cramp workout than a thing that can help me slice effortlessly. The thing about knives, unfortunately, really hard to do in the pandemic, especially if you're investing on a knife that is more expensive. You really should be holding the knife in your hands, and you really should be cutting a carrot or a tomato or like something with it, you know, because the knife is basically an extension of your hand in the kitchen, and if you don't have a feel of how it feels with you, then it's kind of like buying perfume, you know, like, first of all, yes, the bottle is pretty, but what matters is how you like the smell of the perfume. And the second thing is, perfume smells different on each person's skin because those scents interact with your own scents. So unless you spray the perfume on your skin, wave it around, and wait like 10 minutes and then smell it, you won't really know how that perfume smells on you. And that's kind of the same thing with knives too, is like, until you hold it in your hands, until you cut something with it, until you decide like, yes, this pinch grip is comfortable, yes, this handle fits the length of my fingers really well, yes, this part where the blade meets the handle doesn't hurt my hand as much, this feels good, this feels light enough, or this feels heavy enough, yes, I like the tip, yes, I like the way it rocks against the cutting board, I feel like I can slice for hours on this, you know, like, looks are one thing, how it cuts is a whole other thing, and then how it fits your hand is very important. I think out of all the German knives,
Yeah, I don't really recall which one felt okay in my hand. I don't think I ever truly liked a German knife, unfortunately. Ooh, does anybody shop for vintage Pyrex? Do you know how to look for vintage Pyrex? When you see the Pyrex insignia on the bowl, if it's in lowercase rounded font, it's newer Pyrex, but if it's in all caps, skinnier font, it's older. So when I shop for Pyrex at thrift stores, I always look for the older stuff because apparently they were more, they were better tempered. Apparently the newer Pyrex is more subject to breaking when you change temperatures drastically. Victorinox knives, I like them for paring knives. My pastry chef used their paring knives almost exclusively. I don't count. This is why I'm not a professional. I don't count my passes. I just feel the blade as I go. I don't even know if I have a 50-50 bevel anymore. And in fact, you can see that the kanji is on this side of the blade. This is actually a right-handed knife because the kanji is meant to display outside of your hand. I'm not right-handed, I'm left-handed. So I'm actually using a righty knife. I don't remember if this was a 50-50 bevel when I first bought it. I don't know why that matters, honestly, because I was thinking about the bevels yesterday and I was like, if you hold it in your left hand and you hold it in your right hand, you are still chopping vertically down on a carrot. Like, what does it matter? But anyway, right now I don't know what the bevel is anymore. I'm just seeking to make it not so dull. That's it. So if you're talking about worried about fucking up your knife, I am a prime example of not being afraid of fucking up your knife. You can still have a sharp knife, even if you fuck up the edge. As long as you work through the practice of sharpening your knife, even if you fuck up the edge, you can still build it back up again. It's a solid piece of metal. It will withstand years of you sharpening it and messing it up. Have no fear, but I do really recommend that you get a cheap knife. You know, mom's knife is cheap. Get a cheap knife, something that will hurt you less if you fuck it up. Practice on it first, just get a feel for it because you will always suck at something when you do it right away. So just prepare yourself to suck, but like equip yourself with something that won't hurt you as much if you suck, which you will suck. I'm trying to use the corners of the stone right now for this tip work because I never use those corners. So they're probably more underutilized and a little bit better suited for me to just keep grinding down like this. Embrace the suck. Yes, that's my new hashtag. Embrace the suck. You know, I feel like I really want a Chinese cleaver too. I just don't know which one is good. I don't know where to find it. Chinese cleavers aren't very popular. So if anybody finds a really pretty, solid looking, bone thwacking Chinese cleaver and you want to instant DM me, thank you. I'll take your links. And Allison, if anybody does send me links, I will be sure to post it on the next live so we can both enjoy a nice bone thwacking cleaver purchase for ourselves. Okay, we're getting there. Japanese surplus stores? Because I don't think I have any in New York. That sounds fun. What's the metaverse? Is that what Facebook is calling itself? I don't know anything about the metaverse. What is subtle Asian cooking? What is? Congrats, Stell. Yeah, maybe I do need to go back to China to find a Chinese cleaver. That seems like the right place for it. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to make it back to China in my lifetime at this point. And I was thinking about this today, and I was talking with a friend about it. I'm not sure Grandma's ever going to make it back to China at this point. It just feels impossible now. With every passing day, it feels like a more and more impossible project. What is WMF? I don't even know what that stands for. I have my mom's family in China. Oh yeah, alright, this tip. I really wore it down. You can see how much more silver looking it is. I really wore it down on this side. Okay, I think we gotta switch sides now. Great. I bought this knife, I think, in... When did I buy it? 2013 or 2014. And I think I bought it from Brooklyn Kitchen. And I think I got it for like under $110, which at that point was a lot of money to me because I was making $10 an hour pre-tax. So this was like 2 weeks of pay for me. Or not 2 weeks of pay, what am I saying? This was like 2 days of pay for me, I guess, after taxes. But I have really come to love it. It's a really pretty knife. This like green handle, very distinctive. It has a nice little brass tone ring here. Oh, Jessel, I need to go to the Philippines for those surplus stores. Also, I can't say surplus. Uh-oh, Ashley. So, if you cut into a persimmon and it's not ripe, when I was teaching in rural China, the kids would have a lot of persimmon because their families grew it. And they told me that if you have an unripe persimmon, what you can do is boil it. So if you already cut into it and you've discovered it is not good for eating, see if it helps for you to boil it. Maybe boil it in like a slightly sugar syrup mixture. Oh yeah, this is a carbon steel knife. I highly recommend carbon steel knives. The catch about carbon steel is they rust very easily. So you can't wash them and leave them hanging because they will rust on you. So a lot of professional chefs will like carry around a towel and just wipe their knives as they go. I'm not that professional, but I have rusted this before. You can sharpen it and get the rust off. It's not the end of the world, but you will have to take care of the blade a little bit more if you get a high carbon steel. Jasmine. Don't make me come after you with this. So yes, Fuyu persimmons are actually not that bad when they're crunchy. But I've learned this year that Hachiya persimmons, the taller, fatter ones, are terrible if they're not completely ripe. And those were soft when I bit into them, but they were so astringent. It was really rough. So for the remaining 3 that I had bought, I just waited until they were all like slipping out of their skins soft before I ate them. And then they were perfectly delicious. Yes, Eliza, I was just thinking yesterday how we haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome. Welcome back. Hope you're doing okay. I remember 2 instances of like cooks being really like machismo in the kitchen, and they were trying to show me how to tell if your knife is sharp. One of them likes to like slice their nail to see if it dents the nail, like if to see if it cuts through the nail. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Don't do that. That's so dumb. And then the other one liked to shave his arm hair off, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. You could just chop a carrot with it, you know? See how that feels. Eliza, of course you learned the arm hair method. The paper test method is so dumb. I gotta be honest with you. I don't get it. But also, I've never sharpened my knives sharp enough to the point where I can slice through a piece of paper that quickly and cleanly. So I really don't excel at sharpening my knives. But our tip is getting there. Tip is getting there. I've seen some folks do really dumb shit in kitchens. But those 2 really stand out. I'm feeling for rolled edges and burrs right now. Burrs are just like, You can feel like slightly unevenness, roughness along the edge. And then sometimes you roll your edge, which just means you went over too hard on one side and it feels like the edge of the blade is kind of curving. That's also no good, obviously. You don't want a curved edge. There's no new Budget Eats content. It's just a compilation video of the top rated recipes. Julia and the edit team pulled that one together because I was away for so long on bereavement. I guess they just needed some new content that was not new. So that's what you have now. Until we have another Budget Eats. Raisins are underrated. Raisins are underrated. I love raisins a lot. I did just film a new Budget Eats. I don't know when it's gonna come out. You're gonna have to be patient and wait for it. I enjoy filming Budget Eats, but it is very exhausting. Oh, the egg and rice igloo thing. That's the, yes, that was on the first Budget Eats with Aaron. That was the omurice. I don't use a knife roll. I have this plastic thing. Aaron's is better. Aaron has an actual guard for his knife. This is a good one. It's very secure. Not an igloo. I just shape the rice in a bowl and I tip the bowl upside down, so then you have a mound of rice, and then I poured the egg on top. I could see a lot of burrs and unevenness in Mom's blade. This blade is very hard to sharpen properly because it is so cheap. It's so thin. It bends when I put pressure on it. Wow. Worried grapes is such a great name for raisins. I love that. I'm gonna start calling them worried grapes now. Thank you for that. Of all the things, why keep this knife? Because Mom cooked almost every meal with these knives for me. She always managed to have a cut on her finger in the last year when I went, probably because this knife was dull as fuck. Because when we were at Mom's house, I could not even cut through a bell pepper skin with this. No, Joe's Pizza in New York City is not the best pizza. I don't know why it's on all the best pizza lists. I don't know who makes those pizza lists. Joe's needs to get off of those lists. There are so many pizzas in New York that are better than Joe's. I can give you like 6, probably, that are in my top, that are not Joe's. I've had Joe's quite a few times. People keep telling me, go when it's fresh, it tastes so different. Guess what? I used to work at Roberta's frozen pizza factory. They used to have a Joe's factory in the same building. We used to trade pizzas. I've gotten experimental pizzas. I've gotten it fresh. Did not taste good. Sauce is too sweet. Bread is too dry. Cheese feels cheap. I had a slice once that I paid for. I took a bite. The cheese just kind of like sloughed off the slice. It's just not good, man. There are so many better pizzas in New York. Are you coming to New York? We got pizzas for you. We got recommendations for you. Don't fucking spend your money on Joe's standing in that stupid line. Prince Street Pizza is Aaron's favorite. I like L&B Spumoni. Definitely run by the mob. Very far out in Brooklyn. Aaron and I both love Lindustry in Williamsburg. Fantastic hybrid pizza that marries good sourdough crust bread with New York style pies, but still has a Neapolitan feel to the slice. It's just really solid bread with really good toppings. Buy the whole pie, go with friends, don't buy a slice, it's not the same. If you like Neapolitan, my favorite one is Una Pizza Napolitana. That dough is so good. It is pricey, it is a sit down place, it feels fancy. I would only go there with like dates maybe, or a special hangout. I wouldn't go there for a meal. It's not that kind of a place for me. It's a little too bouge. But it is my favorite Neapolitan. Last time when I went out to eat pizza, I really like Joe and Pat's. Their original spot is on Staten Island, but they have an East Village location. It's super thin crust style. Love it. I burned the roof of my mouth off with like a 3rd-degree burn because I could not wait to eat it. And yes, it did hurt for a week, but like I went back a few months later and I was not traumatized enough to not eat that again. So, worth a 3rd-degree burn. No gluten-free pizza. No gluten-free pizza. I don't know if Joe's Pizza is brick oven. I mean, yes, they might be oven brick, but I don't know if it's coal. I don't think it's wood fired. I don't know if it's electric. I don't know if it's gas. I don't know the specifics of their oven. All I can tell you is Joe's Pizza is not worth the hype. Celiac folks will just have to deal with imposter pizzas, but real pizzas are made with dough, made of wheat flour. I'm sorry. It's just, I've not had a good gluten-free pizza. I don't know if it's possible. You can have pizza-esque things. I've made pizza-esque things on Budget Eats. It's just not the same. Keste, I've never gone. My food friends love Keste. Aaron was not a fan of Keste. Joe's has a lot of locations now, but yes, there is one on Carmine. I did not know Caputo made gluten-free flour blend. Wow, okay. Noted. Good to know. I really suck at sharpening the tips of knives, I've discovered. The rest of the blade feels good, but these ends, the book ends, I really suck at. What's everyone's favorite pizza toppings? You're allowed to say whatever you want, of course. Mom's favorite was sausage. Whenever we got like Pizza Hut or Domino's, I think we always got the Supreme because that always came with sausage. She also used to buy those $1 Celeste pizzas. And then I feel like Celeste went from like this big to like this big in the last 12 years. No? Mom also used to say that pizza was too salty, so she would always put steamed rice on her slice and eat it. Carbs on carbs. Congee with pizza toppings. I'm not sure, but yes, maybe. I would much rather have a congee that's like pizza flavored. So you'd have it in tomato sauce and sausage cooked into it, and then maybe you top it with cheese and herbs. But I don't want like pepperoni sitting on top of congee. That sounds disgusting to me. I think I rolled the blade here. Feels a little wrong. Very easy to fuck up on a blade that doesn't stay stiff. Hand is starting to cramp, so we might have to give up on this soon. I remember liking Totino's as a kid, but I'm sure I would hate it now. There's something very gag-worthy about the smell and taste of Totino's to me now. It feels like 6-day-old Subway yoga mat bread, dried out, and then sogged back up with very sweet, diluted tomato paste with little chunks of Slim Jim beef jerky cut up into cubes. But as a kid, I loved it, sure. You know what I noticed is Mom's knife has the words printed on this side of the blade, which makes me think, is this a left-handed knife? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's such a cheap blade. Doesn't matter. But fun, huh? Words are on the left-hand side. Listen, I like Subway too. There's no shame in the game of liking Subways. It's intoxicating. They pump that gas out because they know we love it. Aaron
are we watching The Witcher tonight? Aaron! Aaron! It's okay, I was asking if we're watching The Witcher.
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll shower by 11. Yay! I'm very addicted to The Witcher. Oh my gosh. Jenny, The Witcher, I think it's based on a video game. Henry Cavill. Oh, it's based on a novel, which is a video game. Henry Cavill is the title character. If you haven't seen season 1, the way I feel like I can recap season 1 is it has pretty much all white people in the cast dressed up as supernatural peoples in a kind of Game of Thrones era fantasy world. But the plot and like all the little intrigues, all the little interpersonal character developments reads 95.9% Asian drama. So if you like Asian drama with all of its love, intrigues, and brokenheartedness and random comical relief characters that pop out of nowhere. Where is the bard in this season? Did he just disappear? I don't know. Anyway, Asian drama with white people in a fantasy world. What's not to like? There are a lot more boobies in season 2. I feel like they really tried to go for that HBO Game of Thrones vibe more this season, which means I hate it more, unfortunately. I like season 1 better. It was a lot more PG-13. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Now, when you're sharpening knives, you can totally do this side. This is kind of just like the buffing side. It's like the finishing side. I've been told you want to just go very light on this so that you don't like end up fucking up the sharp edge that you worked. But this is basically just to like touch up roughness. You're not really trying to do much like big sharpening. It's just like finesse, gentle finesse. That's probably too much. I'm probably going too deep. Ay, ay, ay. I always do this to myself. And then I'm like, oh no, I have to go back to the 1000 side. So I fucked it. No, we're not doing that. I'm not allowing myself. Okay.
You can hear how much more solid this blade is. You can probably see how this part is shinier because I spent more time trying to grind down this edge than the rest of the blade. Very uneven sharpening. The tip over here is actually more sharpened as well. So yes, I sharpen my knives, but do I actually sharpen my knives? Who knows? I don't know. I believe this is a Corin purchase. Aaron got this stone for himself in college. This is basically Aaron's hand-me-down gift to me when I started working in restaurants. But you can get this at Corin. You can also get whetstones at a variety of restaurant supply stores. I don't really know about the different qualities and price points of them, but I would say this combination stone probably ran him 50 bucks. Would you say this was 50 bucks? He's not really paying attention to me right now. Yeah. It's a 1,000, 4,000. Corin's been having a lot of of sales. All of their knives are 20% off, which is quite impressive given that some knives are like $800. That's like a $150 plus discount on some of them. You want to make sure that you dry your stone before putting it back into storage. This did mold once, so it is porous. It is capable of molding. So be sure you leave it out where there's circulation of air before you close it off. Man, some of those $800 knives, you look at it and you're like, damn, there are beautiful things in the world. That feeling when your knife is more beautiful than you are. Wonder if Mom's knife would fit in here. It does, kind of. But I would need to find a knife cover for this one. So I'm going to try to skin our pork shoulder for a shoot that I have to do tomorrow because Lala really likes pork skin. She doesn't really want the meat. She has requested that I only cook pork skin for her. So the pork shoulder that I bought for tomorrow's shoot actually came with pork skin. So I think I'm just going to skin that off. Tell me, sorry to be kind of racist, but white Americans in the crowd, when you cook pork shoulder, is the skin usually attached? Does it make it into your food? And also, if we do have any Mexican friends in the chat, when you cook pozole, does your pork have skin attached? Or do you use no skin pork? I'm truly curious because I feel like in Chinese cuisine, when I grew up with my parents, whenever they could get a cut of pork with the skin on, they would always get the cut with the skin on. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Wait, hold on. Deceitful love, you have to clarify. Are you Mexican? Do you like skin on? And is pozole usually cooked without skin, which is why you hate pozole? I'm having a tough time deciphering. Oh my gosh, Ashley. How? But why? That's flavor. Interesting. Okay. Okay, yes. Thank you for the clarification. Mexican, hate pozole, usually has skin on. Good to know. Well, this is for Delish anyway. We're not really authentically Mexican, and Grandma has said she really likes pork skin, so we're gonna go ahead and trim off the pork skin for Grandma because Grandma is more important than what kind of meat I use in this video for a recipe I did not write or develop. I'm just shooting the video for it. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Pork skin is not kind of just bacon. Bacon doesn't have the skin, actually. Bacon has the fat, but bacon doesn't really have the skin. So Grandma doesn't like the fat. She just likes the skin. So we're gonna try to make a very precise trim here. I have not cooked a lot of cuisines, yo. I don't know what kind of cook you think I am, but I'm not well versed in many cuisines of the world. No, I'm gonna cook this pork skin for Grandma. That's what I'm saving it for. She really likes eating the skin, only the skin. She says she doesn't want to eat the meat, just the skin. So that's what we're doing here. The rest of the fatty bits I'm going to put into the pozole because I'm supposed to use 3 pounds of meat. I actually don't know once I debone this and take away all the skin, how much meat I'm going to have. The bones we can probably make broth with. This bone looks like it has solid marrow. We'll probably put the skin in the pressure cooker for Lolo. Oh, this is gonna be tight. I don't know if we're gonna make it to 3 pounds. It's okay, nobody will know. Nobody will know. Definitely not 200 strangers. So if you look up pozole, delish, the recipe is not mine and it's already live. So if you're interested in finding out what recipe I'll be making the video for tomorrow, you can find it. It's on Delish. I guess technically I'm kind of working right now, huh? Yikes. About that work-life balance. right, we're just about 2.5 pounds. I think that's close enough. We'll save this bone. It's like a hinge bone. We got a little hinge going on here. I'm sure Aaron can make some bone broth with that one day. We'll go ahead and freeze it for now. And we'll go ahead and freeze this because I don't have time to cook for Lala, but one day, soon. Okay, now I'm going to chop this since I've already dirtied everything. And I'm also going to salt it just a little bit because I'm a little worried every time I handle meat that it introduces a lot more bacteria from my hands, from the surfaces. Just adding a little bit of salt kind of, but we're gonna cook this tomorrow, so it's not a big deal, but plus it seasons the meat a little bit more, so. Let me look up pozole recipe. 2-inch pieces. Okay, that's kind of big. Really? 2 inches? That's huge. 2 inches is like my first 2 joints on my finger. All right. It feels big, guys. It feels kind of big. Not gonna lie. Well, salt is a preservative, so it's going to kind of inhibit some bacteria development. I mean, not all, obviously, but it helps with some. And it also helps with flavor, so. For the fat pieces, I'm gonna cut them into smaller chunks. They'll render a little bit more readily if we cut them up. I'm not sure what this kind of fat will make. I'm really not a meat person. I really didn't cook meat until I came to Delish, and then I got assigned random meat recipes that I had to cook. I really don't have any know-how. I'm just faking it till I make it, y'all. This is not Mom's iodized. This is just kosher. I couldn't find Mom's iodized. I would have used it if I found it just now, but I'm a little tired. Got a little lazy. Animal. I'm gonna sign off soon, but I want to do one last thing before I go. I want to see if I can supreme a lemon with Mom's knife that we just sharpened. I'm very curious. Supreming citruses is one of those things that I always struggled with. And then my pastry chef was like, it's not about the knife. And I was like, but I just don't know if my knife is capable of it. But Mom's is bendier, so maybe I can have more control over it. not terrible. No, my enamel's already gone. If I bite into that lemon, I'm pretty sure my whole mouth would fall out. Supreming is when you peel off the pith and the skin, and then you actually slice in between the membranes of each segment and only get the juicy bits, the juicy flesh, without any membrane, any pith, to my understanding. But I will make lemon tea with this tomorrow or something. Alright, I'm gonna go look for a knife guard for Mom's knife. I don't think they sell them this big, but something to protect the edge would be nice. Thanks for hanging, folks. That's all the content I have for you today. Shall we go see what Freddy's up to?
Freddy's lying on the bed.
Oh, Freddy! You're so cute, buddy. Oh. Oh. Hello. Hello. Oh, did I invade your space? I'm sorry. Not sorry. You're purring. Do you like your bib scratch? Do you like your bib scratch? What is this hard bone you have here? Is this your rib? Is this the beginning of your rib? It's very hard. Is this normal? I don't know cat anatomy. What a cutie. What a cute. Oh. Oh. Ew. Alright, we just got Fred splattered all over. We're gonna bid you folks a good night. Yes? Happy Monday. Hope you have a relatively happy Tuesday. Take care of yourself. Oh, did we have vitamins, Aaron? Oh, we did. Eat your vitamins, drink some water, get some sleep, watch some Witcher, tell me how you like it. Okay. Bye.